Hey guys, and welcome to the Surge Growth Partner Podcast, a podcast where we interview top-level executives inside leading and growing companies in the IT and cybersecurity space. Excited to have our guest today, Travis Abrams. We'll be diving into his story, what his company UNS specializes in, and some engaging insights into the cybersecurity industry. So I'll go ahead and kick it off to you, Travis. If you could just introduce yourself and tell a quick snippet of your story and your background prior to working at UNS.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. As you mentioned, my name's Travis Abrams, and I'm Vice President of our operations at UNS. UNS is a managed service provider. We really are a all things cybersecurity provider. Company's based out of Minnesota. We've been around since around 97 when it was founded. But we have a global team. So we have a team members in South America, North America, Europe, Asia. So we're a pretty global environment.
Cool. I always kind of like to ask our guests, just from curiosity, what was it about cybersecurity that maybe sparked your initial interest? And, why did you go ahead and decide to go and pursue a career in it?
Well, I mean, that's a good story for me because I'm old enough to remember when it wasn't called cybersecurity, right? It was called information security. There were no degrees that you could get in information security in the late 90s, at least none that I knew of. It really wasn't a choice of, hey, do you want to go into this or not? My first exposure to cybersecurity was literally I walked out into the hallway and a CIO at the time saw me, and I was probably the first person he saw. He didn't know my name. He just said, hey, someone called and there's something wrong with our website, so go call this person and figure out what's wrong. And back then, it was a very popular to deface websites. So somebody had compromised one of our websites, put a skull and crossbones on it, to replace the website. And I was charged with fixing it. And after that, it was, hey, you're going to be the cybersecurity guy, or back then, information security guy, to get this fixed. And again, it was not a lot of companies did not have dedicated resources at the time to do information security or cybersecurity. It was just a function that was done and wasn't done well always, right? So back then, those are the days of the I love you virus and mass email viruses and things of that nature. I was fortunate enough that the company was willing to invest in me and sent me to some early SANS training and different training courses. And I just kind of developed into that role. So it, again, wasn't necessarily I woke up and chose like, hey, I'm going to go do this. You just kind of fell into it through your ordinary work.
Yeah, it's a reoccurring theme that I'm seeing. It's not like people choose cybersecurity. It often chooses them, right? And
yeah.
Well, no, that's awesome. I love to always hear people's different stories of kind of how they got into the scene. And I'm sure, you being inside of it, you've probably seen the evolution of it. And so I'm curious as to, obviously seeing that evolution and seeing where we kind of have started off, like you said, the term was information security before it even came cybersecurity. But as far as some upcoming trends and what maybe you're seeing inside the industry right now, what would you say are some, unnoticeable things that you got your eyes on that maybe you wanted to lighten the audience about?
Yeah, one of the interesting things I see is when it comes to upcoming trends is that they're always not upcoming trends. Often they're the same trends. And unfortunately, some of the trends we've been dealing with, for 20 something years. If you look at, email is continually one of the biggest issues with cybersecurity. You look at today, email phishing attacks lead to some of the largest compromises that companies see. This is the same type of issue we were dealing with 20 years ago. So there's a little bit of frustration that, some of this is not always new trends. Of course, there are some like crypto and some of these areas are newer. The ransomware, encrypting the hard drives and taking data hostage is a relatively new trend. But some of these attacks and some of the trends are really just bad hygiene, right? A lot of what really needs to be done around cybersecurity is really sometimes going back to the basics and focusing on good best practices. knowing all of your assets, managing all of your assets, things of that nature. Obviously, for new trends, of course, the ransomware is still going to be the ongoing and biggest issue. Recently, just a few days ago, I was unable to make my mortgage payment because the mortgage processors had a cyber attack, and they're down and they still haven't been able to process customers' payments, right? So that is going to continue to be the issue, but we're going to